Some important topics which come in every exam, even if you look at this May, June 2020, all these topics have been covered. You pick up any paper and these topics are asked in different ways. They give you a little bit of story in section B. Now I'm talking about section B. Maybe a story about a developed country, like 3-4 lines about it. And then the questions start. You can relate it to the story above a little bit, but try to give your own analysis. And in discussion part especially, write well, write more. Think of it, you don't, the marks are not cut if you don't write in good English, but as economists, you're supposed to write very well because you're analyzing something. You're supposed to convince the reader about your point of view. So it gives a better impression if you've written well. So some of the important topics are the opportunity cost topic. It's very important because our resources are limited. That's the basis of our economics. In this, the opportunity cost curve and the production possibility curve is very important. Even in MCQs, you get a few questions like these. You should know when the curves shift. You should know what each point on this curve means. If it's under the PPC, then you are underutilizing your resources. If the point is above PPC, then it's not possible. You need to add more resources and so on. If there's a population increase, the production possibility curve will shift outwards, etc. Resource allocation is different for the private sector as well as the public sector. You need to know which sector you're talking about. It's more efficient in one, not so efficient in the other. It depends on which product you're talking about. Demand supply is one of the most important topics of microeconomics. In demand and supply, you will be asked questions on the equilibrium, especially when you're in equilibrium and your supply curve shifts or your demand curve shifts. An example of a supply curve shift would be a subsidy. An example of a demand curve shifting to the left would be, let's say, an increase in taxes. And how does that affect the price and the quantity demanded or supplied? So that knowledge should be on your fingertips. Price elasticity of demand, you should know what products are price inelastic and how a producer can use this knowledge to his or her advantage. So if a product is price inelastic, it makes sense to increase the price so the producer can earn more revenue. If the product is price elastic, then decrease the price and you will earn more revenue by selling more products. What is market failure? For this, you need to know what is the market economy, the market economy, mixed economy, as well as planned economy. Market failure is when the market economy fails. Lots of students, even in O3 or C2, they give answers. Market failure is when there is no demand of the product, or when the product doesn't sell, or when there is no supply of the product. That is not true. Market failure is when the market economy, where there is no government intervention, that fails. For example, you are selling harmful products to the people. There is no check and balance. That is an example of market failure. You're selling life-saving drugs at a very, very high price. Hardly a few people, a few percentage of the economy can afford it. That is market failure. Functions of money, you should know all of them. Now we come to the macro part. In macroeconomics, you should know the 4 aims of the government, and also how if the government tries to do something, it conflicts with the aim. For example, if the government tries to increase employment by spending more, there will be inflation in the economy. If government tries to cut down taxes to facilitate the people. Let's talk about demand side policies first. Demand side policies are policies which aim to increase demand in the economy. This could include a reduction in taxes, marketing, etc. Supply side policies aim to increase the supply of goods and services in the economies. This includes training of workers, giving subsidies to producers. Like in the previous example I gave of the May-June 2020 exam, supply side policies were they mentioned the government is giving subsidies to different organizations to open up schools which are cheaper or free, charitable schools, etc. So you have to identify whether they fall in the fiscal policy or the monetary policy. Fiscal policy deals with taxes and government spending. Monetary policy is conducted by the central bank of the country by increasing or decreasing the interest rate, which basically increases or decreases the money supply. One of the most important topics and easiest also and interesting also are the social topics. So economics is a social science. As economists, your aim is to improve the living conditions in the economy. Not just know the economics part of it, but how it affects the people living in the economy as well. So for that, social costs and benefits are very important. You should know what private costs are, what external costs are, what the benefits of a particular project are, etc. So costs are of different types. Usually you are tested on this. You're supposed to identify these, even if they don't mention it. So a housing society is built in a park. What are the costs? Obviously pollution, scenic beauty is destroyed, opportunity cost. The same place could have been used for a school. The clean drinking water onwards, these are the things that every society should have, and if they don't, governments and economists should aim to provide these to their people. These include clean drinking water, education, school, training centers, if not proper schools, training centers so people can find employment, health facilities should be available to everyone. Governments and economists should do proper research to know about the demographics of the particular economy or the country. You should know how many students will be graduating in, let's say, 2024. So you have sufficient jobs available for them. You should know how many people will become part of the dependent population by next year or after a few years. Demographics are very important so you can plan accordingly for the next few years. And another important topic which does come in your exam and you should have some knowledge about it is women empowerment, because especially in developing countries, if women comprise of approximately 50% of the population and they're not given a chance to work, then only the 50% of the population and the working age group, the workforce of those men, they are basically providing for a lot of people. That is one of the reasons why developing countries do not do well economically. So women empowerment is a very important topic. It's always been important. Nowadays, it's even more important, and you may be tested on it.